Hello everyone and welcome back to the UConn Huskies Dynasty. It's another home game for UConn, 3 of them to start the season, and it's the last one for a little while. Today UConn faces off against the SMU Mustangs, a team coming off a loss to Western Michigan and then a blowout win against an FCS opponent. SMU, as you know, rejoining the Pac-12 this season, and at least on paper they should be one of the better teams in the conference. But a loss to a MAC opponent is never a good sign. To be honest with you, this is a very talented SMU offense. They are led by scrambler quarterback Sean Boozer, who has 93 speed. We'll definitely have to be on the lookout for him to scramble today. But then the weapons is where this team really shines. They have Hugo Westerman at running back, and the backup's not much worse in Brad McConnell. And then at wide receiver, it's Enrique Samuel, Taylor Gomes, Broderick Irvin, and Courtney Corker. And then they're even pretty solid at tight end with Raphael Boudreau and Steve Gaston. And then another team with a really solid offensive line that UConn has to face today. Pretty much 88 or 89 overall across the board, except for at right tackle. The overall may say that they're an 82. But I don't buy it. This is a really good team on paper with a few weaknesses here and there, but generally very well rounded. SMU's loss against Western Michigan was a fourth quarter comeback, 23-7. Western Michigan wins the fourth, and they allowed 440 yards of total offense. It appears that the offense was not the problem. It was more so the defense. Sean Boozer had an incredible day, nearly 400 yards with 5 touchdowns and only the 1 pick. But the biggest storyline today is number 2 recruit in the country, left end Spencer McCartney, visiting UConn to see if it's a good fit. A win today could go a long way to securing his commitment. And if you look there, his number 3 team is SMU. SMU is a team that we cannot underestimate. They have a bad loss to Western Michigan, but they are not a bad team. In fact, this is probably one of the better offenses we'll face all season, and it might be a decent test for a defense that underperformed a week ago. SMU will start with the football first, and we'll get to see that high-powered offense to start the day. One change you'll see defensively, Addison Biggs now playing a little bit more instead of Dennis Colin, as Joey Terrell cannot make the tackle. Kiki cleans it up, and we've got another team that runs with tempo. This is Addison Biggs here, number 12 in the middle. Will play the other sub linebacker role with Terrell, both seniors. Second down and 2 for Boozer, who's going to do the speed option, and down he goes. Terrell not letting a guy get past this time. 3rd and 1 from the 28. Boozer is out of the shotgun, throws, RPO completed. That's the tight end, Raphael Boudreau, and that's a first. We saw how much we struggled against the RPO a week ago. Maybe more of the same today against SMU, as Boozer over the middle to Boudreau again, and that's Byler with the tackle. Still in tempo, Boozer by himself in the backfield this time, calling an audible, maybe seeing the blitz that's going to be on its way from UConn, and it is, but Boozer spins out of the sack, but then goes down. It was Biggs there first, and he may get credit with the sack. I think it was Terrell that cleaned it up. Down goes Boozer, 3rd and 14. From the 33, a 3rd and long. Boozer, time to throw, scrambling to his right side. He is very fast, going to take off, but slides down in front of AJ Hepburn, and they will ultimately have to punt it away after what seemed like a good start to the drive. The UConn offense been very efficient so far this year. Pelishak yet to throw his first career interception. 5 touchdowns, no picks for the redshirt freshman quarterback so far this season. And Max Cadet gets a pickup of 5 to start the day. On 2nd and 5 from the 20, Pelishak to throw, and he wants Dalton Schmizniak, has it forced out. 3rd and 5 still. So now empty set for John. 3rd and 5 from the 20 as he looks to throw. And he wants Dorian Tobin, gets it to him. Not the best throw there from John Pelishak, but it gets the job done. Tobin back in the backfield, and from the 32, it's a carry to him. Burst of speed for Dorian Tobin, patiently waiting for the hole to open up. 2nd and short from the 40. Blitz on its way. Play action from John Pelishak. Lob to Dalton Schmizniak. It gets there. Broken tackle. Schmizniak has more room to run, and he gets up past the 15 to the SMU 14 for the UConn Huskies. They enter the red zone quickly. Great throw from John Pelishak. Also credit to the O-line for picking up that blitz nicely. First and 10 from the 14 as Pelshak looks to throw and goes underneath. That one is a scary one, but caught by Jeffrey Ritchie. Tobin still the back on 2nd and 5 from the 10. He gets the carry and doesn't get much. 3rd and short from the 8. Pelshak to throw, wants Dalton. He makes the grab through that contact. We're short of the marker. It's 4th and inches. And the offense remains on the field. Look at how close we are to that first. From the 4, it's 4th and inches. Handoff, Max Cadet, he's gonna get it. In the Wildcat, 1st and goal from the 3. Cadet, the quarterback, Tobin out to the right, and Don Lambo in the backfield with him. Cadet on the carry, nowhere to go. In fact, he may have lost a yard. John Pelshak back into the game. 2nd and goal from the 4. Back to pass. He wants the tight end. Touchdown, UConn. It's J. Joe with the touchdown reception. Taking on a bigger role this season with Marcus Angler transferring out. Joe is now the tight end too, and he gets 6 here. UConn will take the lead here in the first quarter over SMU. 11 plays, 85 yards, and 5.5 minutes killed on the clock from UConn. A long, sustained drive. That defense is going to be tired, but oh my goodness, a huge play for SMU to start the new drive. George Kiki blew his assignment. It's a huge pickup for SMU. It was just a simple screenplay, and I think Kiki was the guy responsible. Unfortunately, made the wrong decision, or there was a miscommunication. Whatever it was, SMU already in UConn territory. A quick drag route throw. Addison Biggs cleans it up. 2nd and 5, Boozer hands it off. We're in the backfield already. Joey Terrell with the TFL, and there's also a holding call on the Mustangs. We decline the penalty, take the TFL. It's 3rd and 8 from the 38. Boozer to pass and has a man over the middle. Santos can't keep up. That's Enrique Samuel. So in the red zone, 1st and 10 from the 19 for the Mustangs. Boozer hands it off. This is Hugo Westerman on the carry, gets 4. 2nd and 6 from the 15. Boozer sends Westerman out wide to the right, and then we'll throw the check down to him. We got to get there, and we do. That's Joshua Dora chasing him down. That's good for a 1st and goal, though, for SMU from the UConn 8. And quick on this drive. All kinds of time to throw for Boozer. It runs out at the end. That's Clyde Novak with the tackle from the 10, just outside the 10. Boozer check down to the running back again. Kiki misses his tackle, but Byler cleans it up. And it's now a 3rd down and goal from the 7. They flip sides of the field. Boozer back to pass. Gonna scramble, stepping up, going towards the end zone. A huge tackle from George Kiki, preventing the touchdown. Looks like the offense is staying on the field for SMU. 4th and goal from inside the 1. Boozer out of the shotgun, handoff up the gut, and untouched is Brad McConnell. Touchdown SMU. They'll tie this game up. So just like that, SMU, a very quick drive down the field to match UConn, and it's going to be 7-7 before we end the first quarter. This game definitely has potential to be a shootout. With the way this SMU offense operates, they go quick, they go with tempo. And UConn has just been consistent about getting points so far this season. Cadet on the carry, he loses the football, and the Mustangs recover. That is not what you need if you're the UConn Huskies. Max Cadet, a very clear fumble. SMU has it and will take over in UConn territory. So here comes Boozer and the SMU offense, an opportunity to take the lead. Only just left the field. Man coming over in motion. It's the jet touch pass. Lots of open field for him. That's Broderick Irvin on the carry / reception there. 2nd and 10. Boozer will hand this one off, and going nowhere, D'Angelo Townsend meets Westerman in the backfield, a loss of 4. 3rd and 14 from the 19 for Boozer and the offense. Boozer to throw, running out of time immediately, and he runs into Johnny McNulty. The sack for the senior edge rusher. 4th and 24 coming up for SMU. A very good stand from this UConn defense after the offense let him down. Johnny McNulty, you menace. So a field goal attempt for SMU. This is a 46-yarder, pretty much dead on. It's veering slightly to the left, but that one was pretty much good no matter what. The UConn takes back over after the fumble, down 10-7. Only allowing 3 after the turnover is the best sign possible from that defense. Tobin can't make the one-man miss. So much open field if he makes that miss happen, but instead it's a 2nd down and 9 from the 21 as Pelshak to throw. Goes underneath. It's Terry Overhauser. He's also got good speed, and he's got the first. And we're going back Tobin's way. Look at this open field for Dorian Tobin. Makes a man miss, but he can't get back up to speed fast enough. Down at the 50, but a big pickup for Dorian. 2nd and 10. Pelshak back to pass. He wants Dalton. Dalton's got room to run after the catch, and he gets to the 27. Another first down for UConn. Nearing the red zone again. Play action. We're back to pass over the middle, and Pelshak throws his first interception of the year. Didn't see the linebacker. He was looking for Dorian Tobin, was scared of the pass rush, and threw a pick. The first big mistake in the career of John Pelshak. SMU takes over off of another UConn turnover. So a couple of mistakes from the offense today, and the defense has struggled against this SMU offense. But down goes Boozer again. It's Keogh first. Novak cleans it up. And a loss of 4 for the SMU quarterback. 2nd down and 14 from the 25. Boozer out of the shotgun. Throws quickly over the middle. Kiki makes the tackle, but that's scary. Makes it a 3rd down and 7 from the 33. Boozer calls an audible. Doesn't like what he sees. They do decide to go to the air, though. Boozer, check down right side, need a tackle, and Byler, one of the most sure tacklers on the team, makes it happen. A 3 and out for SMU. The defense playing some really good football when we have to have it. Really appreciate that. 1st and 10 from the 21. Pelshak and a handoff to Tobin, and he's swallowed up in the backfield. 2nd and 13 from the 18. To throw is Pelshak, and he finds Tobin a little behind him again. He couldn't run with it as much. 3rd and 7 from the 24. Pelshak back to pass. He wants Dan Sanders, and he gets it to him. Dan Sanders with a reception and up near midfield, 1st down. 4 minutes left to play in the first half. Tobin on the carry, and good job from the linebacker filling the lane, only allows 3. Wildcat formation once again for UConn. Tobin lined up as the quarterback. 3rd and 3. Tobin will get the carry, just waiting for something to open up, make something happen himself, and gets to the 34 with the first. Empty set Pelshak. Back to pass. He's got Dalton Schmizniak down the field. It's a touch underthrown. Good job by the safety there. After the 2-minute timeout, it's now a 3rd and 8 from the 32. Pelshak to throw, takes the drag to Madu. He can't even hold on to it. 4th down and 8 will bring in Hollis for what would be a career-long field goal. This to tie the game up. Kick on its way from Hollis. A little bit to the right, but it's inside that upright, and it is good. This kid has a huge leg. 1:49, 3 timeouts for SMU. Plenty of time to make a drive happen. So they're going to set up a running back screen to start this new possession, and it only gets 4. They're not using timeouts. They're not in the hurry up here, actually, so a lot of time just ticked off the clock. 2nd and 6, about a minute left to play. Boozer to throw, does so quickly, nearly intercepted by A.J. Hepburn. That was a scary one. 3rd and 6 for Boozer in the offense. Running out of time, takes the check down right side. That's going to be good for a first, and they will finally use a timeout. 1st and 10 from the 30. High snap, Boozer. Play action. What is he doing there in the backfield? Finally takes off to run and actually gets a pickup of about 13 out of it. He was panicking in the pocket. 1st and 10 from the 43. Boozer this time. No panic, but he throws an interception to the new starter, Addison Biggs. Jumps up and gets it. And UConn going to have excellent field position and a chance to take a lead into the half. And they start with the football in the second half. That is a massive play from the new starter, the senior, the linebacker, Addison Biggs. So can UConn find some points before the half? Starting on the SMU side of the field, Pelshak will throw, gets this to Tevin Madu on the drag route. We'll call our first timeout. Brings up a 3rd down and 5 from the 43 as Pelshak's back to throw again. He's got Tevin Madu deep down the field, and he connects with him, but Madu's down at the 1. I thought that was a touchdown, but he's brought down just a yard short. 1st and goal at the 1 for the UConn Huskies. 20 seconds left on the clock from the half-yard line. Handoff up the gut. Max Cadet into the end zone. Touchdown UConn to end the first half. The interception from Addison Biggs and the capitalization from the UConn offense. Max Cadet, the goal line back, getting the touchdown after the earlier fumble. A redemption arc for Max. 16 seconds left in the half. UConn, a 17-10 lead. So 17-10 for UConn at the half. They get the football to start the 3rd quarter. I cannot emphasize how huge of an interception that was from Addison Biggs. It gave us all of the momentum, allowed us to score right before halftime, and now we get the ball again. I mean, that completely changed the tide of this football game. 17-10 UConn as we start the 3rd quarter. Cadet gonna get the first carry in a while. Obviously, he had the goal line carry, but has not seen the ball much since the fumble. Only the pickup of 2, so it's 2nd and 8. And Pelshak will be back to pass. Quick throw to Terry Overhauser. Good block down the field by Tevin Madu, and it's a first. From the 29, a 1st and 10. Cadet on the carry. Good block picked up. Cadet falling forward as he always does for a pickup of 7. 2nd and 3 from the 36. As this one is to Tobin, but he can't hold on. Good defense, 3rd down. Tobin now in the backfield on a 3rd down and 3. John Pelshak gets this to Dan Sanders, and he fights through 3 defenders' tackles for the first. From the 43, Pelshak back to pass. He's got a man open, hit as he throws, but he finds J. Joe anyway. His 2nd reception on the day gets a first to the SMU 39. I've been really impressed with Pelshak's under pressure throws. He stays calm in that pocket. Makes the throws even when he's taking a hit. 1st and 10 from the 39. Pelshak back to pass. Hit as he throws again. This time the hit was there a little too early. Makes it a 2nd down and 10 from the 39. This one gets to Tevin Madu. He holds on. It's 3rd and 7. Big 3rd down from the 35. Pelshak to throw. He wants J. Joe. Needs to run after the catch. And he does. Quick throw from John to Jay. Tobin in the backfield. And on this 1st and 10, he gets the carry flag down. I got to imagine this one's coming back. That was the wide receiver, Tevin Madu, with the hold. Making it a 1st and 15 from the 30. And Madu actually going to be rewarded by getting the next catch, outrunning a defender and getting a first. Up to the 10, a 1st down and 10, somehow not a 1st and goal. If you see the yellow line, it is technically possible to get a first without getting into the end zone. I don't see how we do it, but we'll try our best. 1st and 10 from the 10. Pelshak to throw. He's going to give Dalton Schmizniak a chance, and he makes a grab in the end zone. Touchdown, UConn. So we couldn't get the first without getting the touchdown, but hey, I'll take the 6. Dalton Schmizniak, the wide receiver one, getting another touchdown on the season. So after being 10-10 not too long ago, that Addison Biggs interception essentially turned into 14 points. 24-10 now the score. SMU in a 2-possession hole, nearly intercepted twice. Kiki got a hand on it. Byler got it off the deflection. Neither could keep a grip on it. Boozer is slinging the rock. 2nd and 10 from the 13. Boozer checked down. Joey Terrell misses the tackle. Should have been a TFL. Joey, normally the master of them, this time gives one up. Instead, it's a 3rd and 3. Would have been about a 3rd and 11. Joey not really playing like himself so far this season, I think. From the 20, Boozer calls an audible and then looks to throw. Running out of time. Takes the check down left side, and it's good for a first. From the 28, back to passes Boozer again. Downfield this time, it is intercepted. It's Jamie Santos getting one over the shoulder. If Boozer puts a bit more air on that, he might have burned us deep, but he underthrew it. And Santos, our corners in general really, have some of the most sure hands in college football, maybe more sure hands than our wide receiver room. Santos getting another interception. He had a few in the last game, and it's a 1st and 10 UConn. The Huskies starting to run away with this one. 5 minutes left in the 3rd. It's 24-10. Where is the blocking? That is horrendous. 2nd and 14 after the massive loss. From the 48, Pelshak to throw. Running back screen. Gets it to Tobin. Just trying to follow his blockers. Lindsay gets 2 of them. Tobin breaks a tackle and has a first. Shout out the left guard, Nolan Lindsay, throwing 2 blocks there. Gotta give love to the big fellas when you see it. I think this is easily the best O-line we've ever had, especially in the passing game. 1st and 10 from the 31, Pelshak back to pass. And takes the quick one to Terry Overhauser for 4. 3rd and 4 from the 26. Pelshak on fire to throw. Over the middle, it's a little overthrown for Dan Sanders. He can't hold on. And it's going to have to be a field goal attempt from Tyreek Hollis. I'm going to say that's a little bit more on Dan Sanders than it is Pelshak, but could have definitely been a better throw. Hollis's kick is on the way. And right down the middle. I'm loving Tyreek Hollis so far. The field goal does make it a 3-possession lead for UConn. Now 27-10. Defense playing very well so far as this one is completed. A good screenplay. Really good blocking there from the tight end, Raphael Boudreau. Boozer with Hugo Westerman to his right. Westerman, it's a fake to him. And then a quick throw right side broken up by Santos. So they'll go again. This time 3rd down and 3, and they're still going to the air. Boozer with time, he throws a 3rd interception. Joey Terrell gets his this time. Another guy with the house call ability. He doesn't take this one to the house, but he's pretty close at the SMU 28. I do not know what happened to Sean Boozer. He was playing very well in the first quarter in particular. That interception he threw to Addison Biggs has ruined him. He is just completely missing the mark since. 2 minutes left in the 3rd, and it is all UConn as Tobin gets the carry, has a lane up the middle, and gets a good pickup. From the 16, a 1st and 10. And it's play action. Back to throw is Pelshak, and he's going to take a sack. And my controller dies the instant it happens. 2nd and 20, huge loss for John. From the 26, rolling is Pelshak, and throwing for Tobin makes the grab to make it a more manageable 3rd down and 9. From the 15, 3rd down and 9, Pelshak to throw, in zone, Tobin touchdown, he got the toes down. A great catch from Dorian Tobin, the jack of all trades, the best weapon maybe in the country. Dorian Tobin, a good route run, a good throw from John Pelshak gives him the chance. We'll take a look at the replay, see if he actually did come down with it, but it did look like he got the toe tap. We take a look at the feet from Tobin. It does look like that right foot comes down before the left. That is a great catch. Well, if you blinked, you might have missed it. It seems like it was only 10-10 moments ago. Now 34-10 for the UConn Huskies, putting up huge numbers on the Mustangs. Sean Boozer has just been uncomfortable, throwing 2 picks since, and now we enter the 4th quarter with a 24-point UConn lead. 2nd down and 5 for SMU. Boozer back to pass, and this one, a scary one again. Did Kiki get a hand on that, or is that just a bad drop? If we take a look at the replay, it's like kind of a bad catch attempt from the receiver, kind of letting it get too far to the side of his body instead of into his chest. And then it does look like Kiki forces it out from that kind of awkward position. So kind of a punch out from Kiki, but I think mostly a bad play from the receiver. Downfield, another one. Jamie Santos, another interception. What is Sean Boozer doing? He has lost it completely ever since the Addison Biggs pick. He has not been comfortable since. He's been under pressure. He's been panicking in the pocket, and he just threw his 4th interception on the day, and the 2nd one to Jamie Santos. It was looking like this might be a hotly contested game, but not happening for SMU, getting dominated by UConn due to the turnovers. And a couple episodes ago, we talked about the fact that this team might get a ton of interceptions. We have 4 guys with platinum house call. If we weren't getting a ton of interceptions this year, I'd be a little bit disappointed. Tobin goes nowhere. From the 35, a 3rd and 7. Pelshak back to pass over the middle for Dan Sanders, and this time they connect on that route. From the 23, a 1st and 10, play action. As Pelshak to throw, nearly hit as he throws, finding Dalton Schmizniak, but the throw is a touch behind him. 1st and 10 from the 12. Tobin will get the carry, takes this to the outside, can't make the DB miss, but gets 6. 2nd and 4, Cadet the Wildcat. It's a jet sweep, but it's to Don Lambo. Touchdown, UConn. The Lamborghini getting into the end zone for what I think may be the first time in his UConn career. Been overlooked by Dan Boyd, for example. But Dan Boyd transferring out in the offseason. Lambo having a bigger role in the offense. Still has to sit behind Tobin and Cadet, but he'll see some playing time, and he got 6 here. Still the starting offense in for SMU. 1st and 10 from the 19. Boozer going to scramble to the right side and has some running room. Meets Joey Terrell and George Kiki. Man, that was a big hit from George. 1st and 15 after a false start for the SMU Mustangs. Boozer to throw. Has all kinds of time this time, but he runs into McNulty, who I think is going to get credit with that sack. Corin Daly also there. It's 2nd and 16. Johnny McNulty, 20 career sacks after that one. Congratulations to the senior. From the 27, back to pass. Under some pressure from McNulty again, and he throws it away, not wanting to take another Johnny McNulty hit. Johnny McNulty does not have the attributes. He doesn't have the physical abilities, but man, oh man, does the kid just play with some heart. Every time he's on the field, he's making plays. You just can't help but love him. He's that underdog story that everybody roots for, and he just continues to overperform. This time it's Adonis Keough. He jumps nearly every time. 4th and 5, the game pretty much over anyway, but definitely over if they can't convert here. Boozer to throw over the middle. He actually holds on to that. A big hit from, I think that was Joshua Dorr. It was, based on the replay. 5 minutes left to play. It's a 1st and 10 from the 44. Might be wondering why we're not bringing backups in. We'll definitely bring the backup offense in, but I want to establish this defense. I want to show the country that this is a defense you don't mess with. Today, currently SMU driving. First time they've driven down the field in quite some time. 1st and 10 from the 45. Boozer back to pass, and over the middle has a man, and that one is completed. Addison Biggs getting beat in coverage. Biggs is a very good player, but he's not quite the athlete that Dennis Cullen is, so that's something to keep an eye on in the middle. Obviously had that huge game-changing interception, so we're not going to knock him too much. Great play from A.J. Hepburn, a diving attempt. Also, this season, you might see the corners move around a little bit more. Hepburn may not always be in the slot. We're going to play based on speed a lot more than just depth chart going forward. I'm sick of those very, very fast slot receivers just being able to beat us down the field, because Hepburn does not quite have that kind of speed. So we're going to start sorting by speed, which means Kiki will be on these slot guys, but as I say that, he gets kind of cooked by a slot guy. 1st and goal from the 2, and they're going to toss it to the outside, but Joey Terrell is there, and it's no gain. 2nd and goal. By the way, that other linebacker you saw involved in that tackle, number 29, that was David Sun, a guy that I don't think we have mentioned once in this series. Touchdown SMU. This time, Josh Dora getting beat. Give that guy a map, I say. It's an onside kick attempt for SMU. It has to be. They have to recover to really have any chance of coming back in this one. There's a good chance to recover this one, but no, Jeffrey Ritchie gets on it, and that should end the game. Game over. UConn takes a victory. Pretty dominant over SMU. 41-17 is the final. And again, I've mentioned it constantly. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing it, but it really was that Addison Biggs interception that I think turned this game around. It was 10-10 prior to that, and then Biggs gets that pick. We score before the half. We score immediately coming out of the half, and at that point, Sean Boozer was just uncomfortable. Threw 3 more interceptions after that, and it was just ball game. A very, very good victory against a really good offense in SMU. If Boozer can figure his stuff out, that could be a really good offense. They've got good halfbacks. They've got really good receivers. They've even got solid tight ends. They've got a really good O-line. That is an SMU team with a ton of potential, and currently it's just not being realized. UConn allowed 250 yards of total offense today, got 10 more first downs than their opponent. Another stellar performance from John Pelshak, 26-35, 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did have his first interception, but was really good outside of that, 74% completion percentage. In the rushing game, it again was not great. 12 for 53, for Tobin. Cadet normally would have gotten more carries, but that fumble scared me a little bit. I left him off the field a bit more. Did not want to have more of those. Allowed Tobin to run. But the passing game has just been so strong that there hasn't been much of a need to rely on the run this year as much as in years past, because Pelshak truly has been incredible. And having Tobin as that weapon, as a receiver mostly, has been really, really good for this offense. And again, spreading the love is John Pelshak, 6 for 96 and a tutty for Dalton Schmizniak. Tobin with 5 grabs, Madu with 4. Jay Joe getting a lot more involved today, had 4 catches. Sanders and Overhauser each with 3. 4 pancake blocks, by the way, for left guard Nolan Lindsay. I continue to be more and more impressed by this kid. He's only a sophomore, by the way. We've got this year and 2 more from him, hopefully. He's going to be really, really good. Defensively, Byler leads in solo tackles, but it looks like Terrell leads in total tackles with 10. TFL's Novak, McNulty, and Terrell with 2. Terrell definitely a bit more involved today defensively. 2 sacks for Johnny McNulty. Just love this guy so much. Sack and a half for Clyde Novak. Felt like we didn't talk about him much, but he had a huge impact. Donis Keogh got his. Corin Daly with a half. Biggs with a half. And Terrell with a half. 2 picks for Santos back-to-back games with 2 or more interceptions. Biggs with a pick and Terrell with a pick. We are just interception city over here in Connecticut. So should be a very good visit for Spencer McCartney, who was in attendance during that game and against the number 3 team on his board, SMU. Couldn't ask for much better. I guess the only thing that would have been better is had we beat Texas A&M. As for recruiting for this week, outside of McCartney's visit, it's again kind of just more waiting. We are very far ahead on Larry Hay at the moment, which is super exciting. He's the top cornerback in the country. By the way, Emmett Goda is the number 3 player in the country as a receiver. Would love, obviously, to get him in, and we are currently in the lead. May try to schedule a visit with him pretty soon. Jim Clemens, we've taken a huge leap on in the lead over Nebraska. And Ben Talbot, who might be my favorite recruit, despite only being a 4-star in the whole class, we are in the lead on, with Auburn kind of in close contention at the moment. But for all of our top recruits, we are currently in the lead. John Akindele is a guy to keep an eye on. Virginia Tech, it looks like, is making some inroads. Frederick Blanco, it looks like Penn State is gaining a bit. Virginia Tech in the mix there as well. Carl D'Imperio, we are back up to 65 points on, but we are still in the lead on just about everyone. It's about time to switch people to a hard sell if possible. Looks like we're going to lose out on Chris Demerit to Notre Dame, as he will visit them in week number 4, and they're just getting way more influence than us, and it's probably not worth keeping him on the board at this point. And in fact, to free up those points and put them elsewhere, we're just going to take our points off of Demerit. We're not going to get him. We're going to leave him on the board. I like kind of leaving these big guys that we lost on the board so that we can see it kind of at the end of the year and remind ourselves who we missed out on. So Chris will remain at the bottom, but we're giving up on him. And I've also scheduled a visit for Emmett Goda and for John Akindele. Unfortunately, our next home game isn't all the way until week 7. We're going on a bit of a road stretch now, and it's against Kansas State. Akindele and Goda will be visiting then. And then I plan to use the points next week to schedule another visit with Ben Talbot. But now let's go ahead and advance the week. UConn 3-0. And now we're going to be starting even more conference play. Next up is a big one. At Texas Tech, they won the Big 12 a year ago. They're ranked 3. We are ranked 4. Should be a huge contest. We are very close to getting a commit from Spencer McCartney. That visit was huge. We gained a lot of influence there. A&M SMU still in the mix, but I'm hoping that we will be getting his commitment maybe even this coming week. We've also got Talbot in his top 3, and we're still gaining the most influence. Auburn has scheduled a visit, though. Akindele, we are in the lead. He is in his top 3. And Frederick Blanco is in his top 3. He will be visiting with Penn State soon, but there's a chance he just commits to UConn this week. Carl D'Imperio even is in his top 3. So we might be getting a lot of commitments very, very soon, including Von Borden, a halfback. Suddenly, Syracuse in the mix on Leon Ansah. Are they going to steal another corner from us? And then as for guys near the bottom of the board, Alex Addison, we're in 2nd. Matthew Kane, we are in 1st. Gage Walls, we're in 1st. Lyle Gay, we're in 1st. And Keenan Beagle, we don't even have any points on, but we're the only person gaining influence because we're the only team with an offer. Here's the top 25 after 3 games. Texas Tech and UConn 3-4. Both 3-0 on the season. Alabama still number 1 after a 58-56 victory over South Carolina. USC back up to 5th. Michigan State 6th. Tulane, Ohio State, North Carolina, and Kentucky round out the top 10. And here's the rest of the top 25. Georgia losing to Arizona. now drops all the way to 12th. And Notre Dame with a loss to Duke. 22-21 drops from 3rd all the way down to 15th. Auburn losing to Pitt drops from 5th to 17th. So this is why we jumped so much all the way to 4th, is because some of these teams above us lost some critical games, including Stanford, who was 8th, jumping all the way down to 21st. They're now 1-2 on the season after a loss to Virginia. Kansas State 3-0, 41-25 victory over South Alabama. They are now ranked at 22nd. Penn State losing to Minnesota, 41-14, jumps down to 23rd. Western Kentucky and Liberty jumping into the top 25. Western Kentucky, I guess, making it because other teams fell out. They didn't even have a game last week. Teams that dropped from the rankings: Baylor, they must have had a bad loss. Maryland and LSU. Maryland still receiving the most amount of votes outside of the top 25. Baylor lost to Bowling Green, 20-14. Hey, we know a thing or two about losing to Bowling Green. We got dominated by them in a bowl game a number of years ago, but kind of a bad loss for the Baylor Bears. So in the Big 12, here is how things look currently. Liberty, UConn, TCU, Houston, Kansas, Kansas State, and Texas Tech all undefeated. Texas Tech, K-State, UConn, and Liberty all ranked in the top 25. I think our biggest competition this year is Texas Tech, Kansas State. They're both very, very good teams. We do play both of them this season, and even upcoming next is Texas Tech. And before we end the episode, I do just want to highlight the stats so far through 3 games. John Pelshak, 950 yards, 8 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. The ground game just has not been it so far this season. 175 is the #1 rusher in Max Cadet, has 3 touchdowns. Receiving game, though, we've already got 2 guys in the 200s, which is awesome, and a number of guys in the 100s. Chmizniak with 18 receptions, 3 touchdowns, 215 yards. Tobin, 200 yards. Madu just short of 200 yards. Sanders and Overhauser each in the hundreds. And a lot of touchdowns going around. Chmizniak, obviously the #1, I think, red zone guy, the #1 end zone guy. 3 touchdowns for him. Tobin with 2, Madu 1, and Overhauser 1. Joe and Lambo each with 1. Defensively, it's actually Byler leading the way in total tackles with 18, and then Santos with 17. So Joey Terrell still 3rd, but definitely off to a little bit of a slow start this season. And normally he leads the way big time in TFLs, but so far this season it's Adonis Keough. 8 TFLs, 6 sacks. McNulty, 6 TFLs and 6 sacks. 6 sacks between those two currently leads the team. D'Angelo Townsend currently falling a little bit behind to Johnny McNulty and Adonis Keough. He was keeping pace with Keough through the first game and a half, but Keough and McNulty have just kind of been on a different level this season. Santos currently leads us with 4 interceptions, which is just unreal. And we've had a lot of interceptions in general. In terms of total offense, we are one of the top teams in the country with 1,300 total yards, but our rush offense in particular is pretty bad, although doesn't appear to be one of the worst. Our passing offense is really where things have been good this year, which is a total flip, honestly. Normally, it's the other way around here at UConn. Our defense does lead the country in sacks. We have allowed -70 total rushing yards, which is insane. Because in college football, they count the sacks as negative rushing yards. So we have accumulated more negative yards than positive this year, which is just absolutely absurd from this defense. And we are 2nd in the country in interceptions, only to Ohio State, who has 11 through 3 games. But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and for the continued support. As always, shout out to the channel members. If you want to become a channel member, you can do so by hitting the join button down below, and you can do it for as low as $1 a month, and it does help me continue to make these videos. But if you find yourself coming back on the regular and you aren't already subscribed, go ahead and hit that sub button for me. It is totally free and it does help me out a lot. But I will see you guys in the next episode, where we face off against the reigning Big 12 champs in the Texas Tech Red Raiders in what might be the game of the year for the UConn Huskies. This is a true test.